Yes, the first time I saw the video, I was just so amazed that this thing even existed, to see all the old buildings, and some of them are still here.
It brought familiar faces to me. I recognized several of the faces on the first run, and that was interesting.
When I see the film for the first time, it reminded me of a mill town and how the mill town grew up and prospered.
Yeah, Rock Hill in the 1930s obviously looked very different. There were a lot of dirt roads. There was still electricity spreading around. It was mainly farmland all around Rock Hill. And thankfully, the Rock Hill printing and finishing company, known as the Bleachery, had come in before the 1930s, because many people credit it as sort of saving the city during the Depression. It was obviously such a difficult time across the country and in Rock Hill, but in Rock Hill, most folks were able to keep, a lot of folks were able to keep their jobs and stay employed because the Bleachery was up and running. And my grandfather would talk about his time during the Depression as a kid, and he really didn't see it as much as the stories that you read about other people, obviously in other places around the country. But he didn't, all his stories about the 30s and the 20s in Rock Hill were very happy and very positive about everything that was going on and the spread of the city and the growth of the city, particularly with having a power plant out on the Catawba River that made it possible for the cotton mills, of course, to continue to move into Rock Hill. And so in the 1930s, it was funny to me, because you study in history books all about the Great Depression and how awful it was, and it was awful. But when I talked to my grandfather and other people that were here in Rock Hill, it was bad, right? But it could have been a lot worse. We were very fortunate that we had the industry that we did here to support the town.
I was truly amazed that we had that much history preserved, and so thankful that we did. And it shows life as it was at that time and what we did during those years. That was a bit before my birth. No, maybe not, but it was before I was active, certainly. People dressed when they went shopping. You see the women with hats and the men with suits, and you always dressed to go buy groceries or to go shopping. Not so today.
Yes, yeah, the formality is certainly decreased, and I think that's true across the country, but when we watch films from the 30s or the 20s, the 40s, the 50s, and people are in coat and tie, like my grandfather played golf in a tie, and he mowed the grass in a tie, and made my brother and I always wear a coat and tie. And we now, we joke and talk about how funny it is the way that we dress so casually. And so it's not surprising when you look back at these videos, if you knew someone that was alive then, because you saw that even in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, that they carried that forward. But it feels like, yeah, that certainly has decreased. And so you look at a video like this video of downtown Rock Hill, and everybody on Main Street's got a hat on and a tie and a coat. Well, if we went right now and looked at Main Street, we definitely would not see that. You know, on a beautiful day like today, you just mainly see shorts and t-shirts.
Everyone met you at the door, welcomed you into a store, and asked what they could do. They took you to that area and assisted in every way. A lot of service when you were shopping as well. And here's Joe Azer. He had an ice cream parlor on Trade Street, and his family was instrumental in founding a Catholic church in Rock Hill. Before that, they held Mass in the upper floor of the ice cream parlor, and then in 1919 founded St. Anne's on Saluda Street.
Yes, the first time I saw the video, I was just so amazed that this thing even existed, to see all the old buildings, and some of them are still here. And then when my father came across the screen like that, it was like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There he was again. He may have already passed by then when I first saw it. I did not know he was a very good bicyclist. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if I ever saw him ride a bicycle before, but maybe he got his fill here in Rock Hill. The footage that you see of him on that bicycle is kind of how he was. He was a happy-go-lucky guy, the best father in the world. I sure miss the guy.
Well, it blew me away when I saw my father and how young he was. And he's a guy that grew up in Marion, South Carolina, in a 4-room schoolhouse. And back then you graduated when you were in the 11th grade. Well, he was so smart that he was actually teaching the classes when he was in the school. He graduated in the 10th grade, and he went off to the University of South Carolina at 16 years old. But when I saw him that young, that sort of brought me back to that part, that at 25 or 26 years old in that picture, he was running a school, Ebenezer Avenue Elementary School. And then he went from there to be principal of Rock Hill High School for 25 years. And he was a beloved principal. He loved his teachers, he loved his kids, he loved Rock Hill. I was shown the video and I was told about where in the video it would be. So I thought, oh, that's my father.
And there's Rock Hill High. It opened in 1914, grades 8 through 10. In 1917, they added the 11th grade. 1948, they added the 12th grade in South Carolina. John Harden was the drum major of the Rock Hill Bearcat Band. He was also the student conductor of the band, later becoming mayor of Rock Hill.
Yeah, this video is pretty amazing and shocking to us because I'd never seen it. I'd never seen my I always knew that my grandfather had been drum major. He was the first drum major of the Rock Hill High School band, but I'd never seen him in action. We had a photograph of him. We had a couple photographs. He went on to be the drum major at Duke University as well, but I'd never seen him doing it. And so when I saw this video and he's prancing along there and throwing the baton around, it was really cool. He's going back and forth. And it fits his personality. It's not surprising to see him acting that way. But for our family, it was really a neat experience. We lost him in 2010, so it was a neat experience to kind of see him again in action, in motion. And as a kid, it's hard to imagine your grandfather when he's 16 or 17 years old. So it's fun to see the video and be able to kind of get a better sense for, you don't have to purely imagine it, you know, to see, well, what was it like when my grandfather was a teenager here in Rock Hill?
One of the pictures in here, which was not involving my father, was the old school at Winthrop, which was Winthrop Training School, was in the video, and that's where I went to school.
Well, I think one of the fun things about seeing this video is seeing Winthrop in the video, because so many of us here obviously grew up hanging out on that campus or around Winthrop. My family, many of my family members worked for Winthrop. And so you see the landmarks in the video that are still there. And you see folks walking in front of a building, like, oh my goodness, I walk in front of that building. I walked in front of that building last week. And that helps you build a really cool and meaningful connection, I think, with the history of the city. When you get to see a video like this, but they're hanging out in the same places that we hang out in. And that, for me, that's been one of the most exciting things about moving back, is having that connection with the past and with the history of it.
My family's been in this county since 1766. Rock Hill's my heritage, York County is my heritage, and I'm very so grateful that y'all are doing this to get this out, to let everybody see what Rock Hill looked like in 1937. And it was a wonderful place to live, the family. You didn't have to lock your doors. You knew everybody. Everybody was worked, and they worked hard and lived every day to its fullest.
Rock Hill's got this exciting future ahead of us, and that it's an exciting time and it's an exciting place to be. And I think this video, in great part, kind of grounds you in that, and the people that made it possible. That's one of the things that's so impressive to me, is to learn about the folks who were alive then, the folks that we're seeing in this video, everything that they made possible here, the risks they took as entrepreneurs or caring for their families. And you know, we do stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. And it's good to stop a moment and be appreciative for what they did, and then know we can do that for generations from now. It could be 100 years from now, somebody's gonna watch a video of Main Street today and be talking about, wow, you know, here's what was going on back then. It's a huge opportunity to be able to contribute to that in that way. And I think that's why I'm so glad to be back, to be able to contribute to Rock Hill the way that these folks did.